In the quiet early hours of March 8, 2014, the world rested beneath a motionless sky. Airports, ocean routes, and night flights moved as they always did. Calm, unremarkable, predictable. And somewhere above Kuala Lumpur, a Boeing 777 lifted into the darkness. A routine red-eye bound for Beijing. Flight MH370, 239 souls. A journey meant to last only a few hours, and a disappearance that would echo for a decade. This is the story of how a modern airliner slipped past radar, satellites, and every assumption we held about what should have been impossible. By every measure, MH370's assignment was ordinary. The Boeing 777-200ER carried one of the safest records in commercial aviation. Redundant systems, advanced diagnostics, a reputation built on consistency. Families, students, engineers, and a seasoned flight crew filled its cabin. Souls who had crossed this corridor countless times. Nothing suggested danger. Under a clear sky, with still air and endless visibility, the aircraft climbed from Kuala Lumpur. Its systems operated normally. No hint of trouble, only the hush of a routine ascent. At 12:41 a.m., MH370 leveled off and settled onto its course toward the South China Sea. Inside the cockpit, Captain Zahari Shah and First Officer Farik Hamid worked through their standard checklists, brief exchanges, routine confirmations. Nothing unusual. As the aircraft neared Vietnamese airspace, a final transmission drifted across the radio. "Good night, Malaysian Three-Seven-Zero." A short pause. Then, silence. Moments later, air traffic control watched its transponder return, vanish. No warning, no distress call, just a void on the screen, where a Boeing 777 had been seconds earlier. At 1:21 a.m., the transponder went offline, erasing the aircraft's identity and altitude. To civilian radar, MH370 simply ceased to exist, yet the aircraft kept flying. Military radar soon revealed an abrupt, calculated turn. MH370 banked sharply left, crossed back over the Malaysian peninsula, and pushed toward the Strait of Malacca. This wasn't drift. It was controlled. Stable, intentional. For nearly an hour, the aircraft moved west. Silent, unresponsive, yet flying with purpose through the darkness. Then, at the edge of military radar coverage, it disappeared again. But high above the Earth, one satellite was still listening. A British Inmarsat satellite continued receiving automated handshakes. Not voice, not data, just routine pings confirming that the aircraft remained powered and still existed somewhere in the sky. Each handshake carried two clues: its approximate distance from the satellite and the subtle frequency shift created by its movement. Analysts examined the shift, the burst frequency offset paired with timing data known as the BTO. Together, they produced two possible paths: a northern route toward Central Asia or a long southern arc into the Indian Ocean. Military radar ruled out the northern path. No large aircraft crossed that airspace unnoticed. Only the southern arc remained, a corridor leading into one of the most remote regions on Earth. The final handshake at 8:19 a.m. placed MH370 thousands of kilometers from land, above an ocean so deep that vast sections had never been mapped, a place where silence feels infinite. In 2015, more than a year after the disappearance, a single piece of wreckage washed ashore on Réunion Island, a flaperon from a Boeing 777. Its edges were rounded by surf, its paint stripped by sun and salt, but its identity was unmistakable. Over the next several years, more debris followed. Interior panels, engine fragments, structural sections, scattered along African coastlines. Oceanographers traced currents and drift models. All signs pointed to the southern Indian Ocean. yet the exact impact point stayed hidden, masked by shifting water, unmapped terrain, and the slow abrasion of time. Investigators confronted the possibilities. A sudden mechanical failure? Unlikely. The early maneuvers contradicted catastrophic loss. Explosive decompression? Possible, but it did not explain the controlled turn west. A fire or partial electrical failure? Some theories explored smoke or degradation, yet the aircraft held altitude and navigated for hours. Crew incapacitation? Still, it could not account for the deliberate deviation. Then came the most contentious theory of all: human intervention, a deliberate act. Inside Captain Zahari Shah's home, investigators analyzed his personal flight simulator. On its hard drive, they recovered a deleted route, a departure from Malaysia, a turn west, and a long descent into remote ocean. It did not mirror MH370's presumed path exactly, but the resemblance was enough to divide public opinion. Some viewed it as a rehearsal, others dismissed it. Pilots often explore hypothetical routes. The official report concluded the simulator data did not prove intent. Shadows lengthened around the case. The search pushed deep into the Indian Ocean. Australia's ATSB deployed advanced sonar arrays, mapping underwater cliffs and ravines, deeper than the Grand Canyon. Early acoustic detections stirred hope. Signals thought to be black box beacons, but no wreckage surfaced near the pings, raising doubts that they belonged to MH370 at all. In 2018, the private firm Ocean Infinity launched a new search with autonomous underwater vehicles. They scanned more than 100,000 square kilometers, a rugged seafloor, seemingly determined to keep its secrets. Despite extraordinary effort, no trace of the fuselage has ever been found. And one question refuses to fade. Why was there no Mayday call? Modern airliners broadcast multiple layers of automated alerts. For MH370 to remain silent, several systems would need to fail or be deliberately shut down. 10 years later, no single explanation accounts for every detail. The disappearance, the flight path, the silence. For the families of the 239 souls on board, time has done little to ease the weight of uncertainty. Their loved ones vanished into one of the deepest oceans on Earth. An ocean that still conceals what happened that night. Today, MH370 exists in a liminal space, between evidence and the unknown, a mystery shaped by technology, by the unforgiving depth of the sea, and by decisions we may never fully reconstruct. Some believe in mechanical failure, others believe in intent. But the truth, whatever it is, rests somewhere beneath thousands of meters of water in the cold, unmoving silence of the Indian Ocean. Until new evidence emerges, the disappearance of Flight MH370 remains one of the most haunting unsolved mysteries of our era. Until the next story unveils, this is the Liminal Log. Thank you for watching.